In the upcoming year, we anticipate that Nvidia's stock will at least triple. What's your main idea here? I mean it. To be honest, Nvidia was missed. I removed my chips off the table far too soon, even though I knew it would be powerful. It's an incredible competition to be the most valuable corporation on the planet, you know. They can develop their own platform plays rather than merely selling chips, so they still have a lot of promise. They have a lot of opportunities. Is it at its height, in your opinion? Do you believe it will keep expanding? Is it possible to interfere? I am aware that Liquid AI, one of my investments, is collaborating closely with Intel on a new chip type that may be orders of magnitude quicker. How do you feel about Nvidia? Like you, we therefore experienced an almost 100-fold growth in Nvidia's stock price, which went from about 40 cents to $40 and is currently at $410. Additionally, we still own it in one of our more specialist portfolios, which is primarily focused on AI. However, we consider this to be a $3 trillion business with high 70s gross margins. The gross margins of its largest clients, the cloud clients, are less than that. This clientele is highly concentrated, and the hyperscalers have a history of saying, you know, we're going to do that. We can do that. When they observe the profitability of their suppliers, they have a lot of money. Thus, Nvidia is a remarkable tale. Kudos to Jensen Huang and his group. They are attempting to change their focus from being solely a hardware firm to becoming more of a platform or software company. Will the competitive climate now permit that? The hyperscalers are all creating their own chips, as I indicated, correct? Some of them are more all-purpose, while others, like Tesla, which I classify as a hyperscaler, are creating their own chips. Tesla has already removed one Nvidia chip from its vehicles, and with Dojo, I believe the company will eventually go fully vertical. That's Elon's constant play, by the way. He always verticalizes. He used SpaceX to do that. When we spoke in the early days of Falcon 1, I recall that he was furious with the supplier for their exorbitant prices. Figure out how to build it ourselves, was his first response when someone's margins were too large. Yes, exactly. What transpired during an earnings call a few quarters ago? A few quarters ago, Elon stated, you know, building a chip is really hard, really hard. We know that he was attempting to acquire additional Nvidia GPUs. Although it's extremely difficult and the chances are slim, we might succeed. Then, a few quarters later, he not only has all the chips he needs, but he also donates some from Tesla to X. I'm sure it was legal, and I know how it worked. This now raises the issue of supply and demand. I believe that what we're witnessing, and we've heard from Palantir, is how much time and preparation these big businesses will need to make the transition to the AI era. I'd love to hear your comments on this, Peter. These businesses are all serving the big businesses. What must they accomplish? Initially, they must compile their disparate data. Many of their data's whereabouts are unknown to them. Workflows must be meticulously mapped out, cleaned up, integrated, and aggregated. The cycle is currently showing signs of uncertainty. The economic cycle is the cycle in question. In certain areas, the consumer is exhibiting indications of serious vulnerability. So businesses are saying, okay, this is a strategic decision we have to make, and we're going to put a lot of resources into it, but let's make sure we prepare appropriately. They're in serious trouble. They're in serious trouble. This reminds me a lot of Macy's, JCPenney, and Toys R Us. I believe that in the end, the little players who are digital first and AI firstborn will lose. There will be a lot of that, I believe. We're betting on that. Our focus is on genuinely disruptive innovation. The market isn't betting that way at the moment. The market is not willing to take the risk and is wagering from a safe place. What they know. Yes, it's simply the momentum of their old way of thinking. The disruption has not yet been noticed by them. They've never seen it. And if there's any disruption, let's suppose we have this strategic halt or reset. We're likely dealing with an excess of supply compared to demand, and I'm referring to GPUs and their use. But because this is so significant, that will be a moment in time. In the private markets, we are witnessing the funding of numerous businesses that will develop something novel, intriguing, distinct, provocative, and contentious. There, did you adopt a good stance? Yes. We have a little venture fund after all. It is growing. At this point, it is over $65 million. We're thrilled to be on the cap table, and we took a nice little slug for the amount of that fund. So sure. We thought, oh my gosh, Google is in harm's way here. When we first started studying foundation models, since we can now go straight to anything we're looking for, and don't want to link to anything. For Apple as well, that was somewhat of a risk. Perhaps the developers won't have to pay that tax, and we won't have to use these programs. We can just go where we want, ask for what we want, and get it with ChatGPT and other apps. That's oversimplifying things, and if I'm not mistaken, it has been verified that Google paid Apple $2 billion to be the default search engine. Thus, it is true that the entire globe is undergoing a profound upheaval that people are still learning about. I concur. The whole search engine market at the moment, and I adore Google. I've loved the teams there for 20 years. I am familiar with them. They have sponsored X Prize and served as partners. In the beginning, Eric Schmidt, Larry, and Sergey were major X Prize underwriters. Our board has Larry on it. They have a cash machine that has enabled them to acquire amazing businesses and construct Waymo. However, that will be seriously jeopardized. If I tell my AI, listen, go buy me all my stuff, it won't be examining advertisements. When someone smiles in a toothpaste commercial, it doesn't care. It only uses my genetic information to determine which toothpaste will be most effective for my teeth, not for others. With AI involved, the dominance of the advertising sector will be challenged. Totally. Unbelievably, Bing is already beginning to increase its market share. Because of OpenAI, it is really fascinating. You have Apple now. The guards were rearranged once more. Are they the true winners, though? Our current reality will be very different from the one we are envisioning. However, based on the behavior of the equities markets, you wouldn't know that. Are you sick of paying a lot of money to access exclusive content? We'll take care of you. Visit our website to view more than 5,000 collections of the best models. You won't have to pay for premium material when you work with us. Unlimited entertainment at your fingertips. No more ongoing fees. Why spend extra money? Select us now to avoid worrying about future subscriptions. If you would like any other changes, please let me know. Even while established firms like AMD and Intel and startups like Grok are becoming more competitive, Nvidia has a distinct advantage thanks to their early investments in AI-specific architectures like their HBM-based designs. Nvidia is in a strong position going forward because of its capacity to scale its operations and sustain leadership in important AI technologies, despite some detractors' claims that these supply chain requirements may provide difficulties in the future. In the future, Nvidia's reaction to the intensifying rivalry in the markets for specialist AI chips, such as inference, will be crucial. Nvidia keeps pushing the envelope with innovations that strike a mix between performance, scalability, and market supremacy, while Grok and others concentrate on optimizing for speed and power efficiency. The next stage of the AI hardware battle will probably be defined by this relationship between learning and inference, as well as Nvidia's capacity to keep a firm handle on both. Given the present market conditions and regulatory scrutiny, investors will be keenly monitoring Jensen Huang's speech at the Goldman Sachs Communacopia conference for any updates on the company's roadmap. For the time being, Nvidia is still one of the most significant and carefully followed businesses in the IT industry, but it is unclear if it will be able to maintain its amazing growth trajectory or face more formidable obstacles. In conclusion, Nvidia's leadership in AI hardware, its strong ecosystem, and its history of innovation indicate that the firm is well positioned to benefit from the AI revolution over the coming years, despite the volatility and worries about regulatory inquiries. Although investors are keeping a careful eye on the company, Nvidia continues to be a major force in the market for those who think AI has a bright future.